Welcome to the great conversation where ideas matter. Ideas can not only shape markets, they can change the world. The Security Industry Association has been doing both for quite some time. A network of influencers in the technology and services space. And one of the ways they've done that is through the notion of a working group. We have with us today Cameron Walker Miller, who is not only the liaison of a new working group called Audio and Intelligent Communication, but also is the director of standards and technology. Welcome, Cameron.
Welcome. I'm the Associate Director of Technology and Standards at the Security Industry Association.
Well, I just gave you a promotion, Cameron. Come on. So go ahead, Cameron. Tell us what's going on with this new working group. What is this all about?
Well, CA's intention and purpose in the creation of working groups is to solve very specific needs for awareness and information within the security industry. So with the formation of the Audio and Intelligent Communication Working Group, CA's supported goal is to develop informational and educational resources which will increase the security industry's knowledge base, very specific to the application of audio and communication solutions. And that's the reason why we're creating and hoping to build out and make this working group great.
Well, thank you, Cameron. And we have two thought leaders that are helping to form this working group. Dan Rothrock, the president of the Americas of Zenitel, who will be chairing this new group. And one of the icons of the industry, Richard Brent, CEO of Luro. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us, Ron.
Absolutely. Dan, why don't you kick it off? Give us an idea of what led up to this notion of a working group that you would involve yourself with.
Well, I think there's a couple things, Ron. One is to pick up on what Cam was saying. SIA has so many ways that members can enrich the organization and our industry and our profession. And the working group has to answer a question or it has to address a problem. And the question is, with voice and audio becoming so pervasive in our daily lives, think Siri, think Alexa, think Cortina, think in our cars, audio's everywhere, voice is everywhere. Why don't we see voice as a key core pillar in the security industry? Why isn't it embedded and integrated into the fabric of every single business process? So what's led up to this, Ron, is in my time period, 30 years of working with audio, is begging for a place at the table where audio would be placed along with access control and with video. And it's been a long process of finally getting integrated to those other products. And then the integration actually now changing to where we're not talking about integration, we're talking about platforms and being embedded in a platform. And now with the future of audio, the things that we're doing with voice recognition, the things that are coming with AI, it's really the time to do a working group that closes the gaps in communication and makes this something that the whole security industry is aware of.
Is this a question, Richard, that you've been asking yourself as well? Why not audio? Why not now?
Yes. Actually, wrote a paper on that about 8 years ago because I couldn't answer my own question. It seemed to make so much sense to me to be able to hear what we're watching when we see a video of we'll call it an alarm event or a security event in process. I'm only 10 years in this industry, Ron. My first year I went to a trade show where I took an educational course and we sat around the table watching a video of a miscreant breaking and entering into a high school football field with his truck, smashing down the fences. Excuse me. And the other folks in the room were all excited because they said, look, we can see how this is going on. Let's play it again. I said, you couldn't hear what they were saying, what they were doing. How do you, so there are events that you need those words to go with it. Or even today, our Zoom meeting has got to have audio to go with the video. And so I beg to answer the question of Why not audio? Why not now? And rather than dwell on the past, every day gives us an opportunity to expand our colleagues' minds about the use of audio as part of the solution.
Forming a group of people that would identify what is going on and what can be done is the recipe for any good leader. The idea of managing a change process, if you will. And Dan, so why don't you go through the pillars of this working group? What is one of the first things you folks will be doing?
Well, the first thing is, it's just four of us on this video right now, and four of us don't really represent our security profession. So we need people. We need help. And what we want to do is we want to look into the security ecosystem and ask people who have a feeling that audio might be important and it needs to be elevated to come join us. That's step one. And when I say the ecosystem, we will have people from other manufacturers that build audio voice communication products, but we need a wider base than that. We need people from video management systems. We need people from access control systems. We need people who are doing monitoring systems to come in and then kind of be the spokes of different types of investigation of where is audio being deployed now? Where is it missing the mark? How do we deploy it in the future? And we'll interview those groups and get some information, and then we'll know what the next set of questions are and what the next action steps is. But the first step is we really need help from the SIA membership to join the working group.
And I've been calling that exercise for years, the mind of the market. So you're asking the members to come forward that are representing different technology and business segments. Imagine audio as part of their use case, possibly even part of their value proposition, and start weighing in on how it's used today and the constraints that are in place today that are keeping them from a richer tomorrow.
Absolutely, right? What's the problem today? Why aren't we getting where we need to go? What's the technology, and then what does the future look like? But we need to start with that guiding coalition.
And when you're trying to drive markets, it's so many different things. It's just not technology alone. Richard, you've been very active in moving markets through regulations, compliance, federal mandates, and so forth. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen. If we can get the right business case in front of the right people, what you've seen in your past that allows us to predict a better tomorrow.
Well, thank you. I find it fascinating because I've seen audio in almost every conceivable use case there is. Not many of them, but they're there. If I can steal a word from Webster's Big Dictionary, it's ubiquitous. Audio is there, but it's not recognized and surfaced as an important part of the component. I don't think it's cost. I think, frankly, looking historically, it was more the fear of being unlawful in deploying a technology that might have implications of invasion of a right to privacy. I would tell you that while the laws haven't changed too much on the books, the attitude of the industry done well, posting notices, and then it can be done, and it's not very expensive. And in fact, amongst the industry, there is services to be had, and there are payments to be made for those services. Who's going to monitor this thing if there is an alarm response and it doesn't have audio, and who's watching? And does that group want to watch? So if I may, taking off on what Dan was talking about, I hear Dan's call for the core of our industry to come together. Then I think about, well, where's the architect, the engineer who specifies? Where's the distributor who doesn't know whether to, move it on the shelf, don't move it on the shelf? If it's project, no one has a sense of this is an important part. From an old hand in the factory, we want to kind of forecast a bright future, but base it upon the reality of what we can do today.
It's so funny, Richard and Dan, I just got off another conversation with a thought leader in project management and teaching agility of C-level leaders and their teams. And he was talking how important now in this climate of uncertainty on where the technology is going, uncertainty where the markets are going, uncertainty in where business is going, to master how you organize your people within roles in a process using technology, and master that. And security is no different. Risk, resilience, and security leaders are learning more than ever the business language of optimization, efficiency, velocity, and value. What are some of the use cases you can imagine, Dan, in the future, and maybe predicting it from the way consumers are acting today?
Well, before I go there, let me just pick up on what Richard was saying, and he's absolutely right. Where's the architects and engineers specifying it? Where's the distributor selling it? Where's the integrator putting it in? And I think back, and one use case, Ron, is where we talk to the end user. And when you talk to the end user and you ask them what are they doing for access control, they know immediately what they want to do and how they want to use it. You ask them what they're using for video, they know exactly what they want to do, where they want to put it, what they want to see. And then you ask the question, okay, so if you can see out there, is it important for you to be able to talk to and to listen to that area? What do you mean? And the conversation starts, right? And it's so automatic. Once they understand it, it's typically the end user that drives the chain the other direction. So now, with what you're asking about technology and use cases, one of the reasons it's audio now is, in the beginning, when I first started doing it, was a lot of pieces and a lot of parts. And you hired a guy that pretended it was black magic to put it all together and make it happen. But now that we live in an IP world, it's much simpler. The parts to make the system work and to deploy it and put it on a network, much simpler, so you can hear anywhere. You can talk anywhere that you would deploy a network camera. You can do the same with audio. So the use case, really, any place that you want to control entrance or exit, you probably want to be able to talk to that location and hear that location. Any location where I'm able to see someone, that's great. And even with analytics at the best, if I'm seeing someone and I have analytics, it's a reactive process. If I have audio, now it's an interactive process where I can talk to somebody, I can change behavior, I can stop somebody, I can listen to somebody. And to Richard's point about that truck that was driving through, before they do it, I can hear what they're talking about, I know what their intent is, and I can address it. So any place where you have access control and video, audio should be deployed as well. That's the use case.
It's so funny. What just came to mind is I was talking to a leader in a big technology company, a security leader in a big technology company. And he said that the CEO of this large technology company that you'd recognize came to him one day and said, "Really?" And he was looking at the access card. "Really? This plastic card is keeping me safe?" And he also said, "Really? When I have a problem at the door, I can't talk to anyone to resolve this?" And he was saying, "Really?" And you know what he meant? He's a technology company. He's going, "Really?" So really what you're all asking, Richard and Dan, is really the SIA community, which Richard included in that community, the channels by which that technology gets into the marketplace, which are specifiers, consultants, resellers, must come together and imagine the use cases that could come out of this and ultimately the value.
Right. Yes, thank
100%.
you. It's interesting. I had the privilege of going to Columbia to talk to the Colombian Air Force facilities people about audio. And I sat with two majors and a colonel. And we talked a little bit about audio, and I needed a translator. And the guy stopped me, looked at his colleague, and he said, "You mean we can really put microphones to our cameras?" And I can't tell you I lost it, but it was like, I didn't start properly. I didn't get them to understand that. And I think that's the point, is like, guys, the building of the future is you're going to walk through a foyer. And that foyer is going to do about 12 different things, including your temperature. But part of that foyer is going to have an interactive audio center that is going to know you're walking, can hear your feet clicks, and can say, if they're sharp on their video with facial recognition, hi there, you in the blue suit. Welcome out and stand over on the right and get in line. I don't know where it's going. I don't think it's Big Brother, but I really believe that the vision that Dan talked about when he formed us all up about intelligent communication is really, that's the building of the future. And right now we're watching buildings change. Architects are redesigning the interiors of buildings to accommodate social and physical distancing. Who's going to tell them when they get to the door, do you mind waiting for a moment? It's an audio piece. I don't know who's...
if you take that, Richard, if you take that one step further, right? We're talking about now building very efficient buildings. We're building healthy buildings. And
yes.
And for the longest time, access control has been the center pivot piece for that, because that's where the database lies. And so the brain is kind of in the access control system. And then that gives you permission to come in or come out. What we're doing now with audio and where it's going to go is audio will become the center hub of the security platform. You will talk to something and it will respond. You will control it just like we've seen in the sci-fi movies and television shows.
Yeah.
I talk to it and action is taken and then it responds. I think it's important for us as an industry to gather where we're at today and start to embrace the use of voice and communication and understand where this is going, because it's going to happen faster than people think, because the technology is coming so quickly.
Well, you've got all the forces of Moore's law happening, right? You've got more compute power at the edge, which means you more have the ability to put analytics, maybe machine learning and AI at the edge. You have the forces, the market forces of wanting it better, faster, cheaper. All those things are coming together now. So Dan, if you're going to run this working group, how are you going to run it in a way where it's not the full-time job of its members or even its guiding coalition? How are you going to make it part and parcel of their business models so that it's a natural adjunct of growing their business?
I think the key is with the people that we start with and that we get into the working group, people that already have a measure of understanding where audio fits into the marketplace. And trust me, if you don't know where audio fits, we will help educate you and bring you along. We still want you to help us in this journey. There's a lot of people that are in the camera business that know, like Richard was saying, hey, we need to put audio with that camera. We need to have that voice. There's people with VMS systems that know they have to have an integration. They got to be part of a platform that has audio. And the same with access control. When people realize that, the other piece they realize is it's important to their business process that audio is included into their platform, right? It's got to be included in the access control platform. It's got to be included in the video management platform. It's got to be part of intrusion. So the people that we're asking for help and to start with coming on board, and then let's start interviewing, and then let's do this kind of a spokes. You take this little piece, I'll take this little piece, and we'll work on it, and we'll come back together. It's trying to do it in parts and pieces that get assigned, so not one person's overloaded. We know, especially through COVID right now, supposedly we have more time than we ever had because we're not traveling to airports, we're not renting cars, we're not going to hotels, but our time has still been absorbed. And so time is our greatest asset. And Ron, we will try as much as possible to keep it limited and keep it very focused.
Well, Richard?
Just real quickly, if I may, just the mechanics. I suspect that we're going to have multiple subsections of this report. Each one of them is going to find themselves identified with a company or companies that have that particular understanding and can provide data, can provide maybe even prose to help us flesh this out. that was sort of my early vision as I discussed it with Dan. And then I thought, okay, C is a professional house, and we want to see a professional report. So I would like to work on some of the companies to see if we can't get a professional contribution, and it's not just lip service to I'll attend your meetings, but people will actually invest time or talent or even maybe even some treasure so that we end up with a good report. I'll go into the one specific. When I took this position, I was very concerned because I had heard about audio monitoring in the law. And what I heard scared me, frankly. I didn't want striped pajamas, so I needed to understand. We spent a lot of money on legal services to understand the federal and all the state laws. I'd like to contribute what that is to the report. So that if we had a section on let's disarm the concern, not disavow it, disarm the concern of audio in the law. We've got, a case and verse that we can cite that brings a neutrality to the idea of why audio, why not? So.
Well, it brings up a good point, because eventually you want to not just have a meeting, not just ideas from the marketplace. You want to come up with good, valid research, documented, written in a report, as well as ideas on a roadmap for the future that can really guide the entire SIA organization in developing out their businesses. And so, to your point, Richard, there's going to be an output here. And the output will be a live document, an evolving document over time, but there will be an output on this. Is that correct, Dan?
That's absolutely correct. And just let me thank Richard, because I know what that treasure trove is that you've put forth, Richard, in gaining that information when it comes to federal and state laws. So thank you, and a great step in the right direction for us to provide an outcome.
If I may, real quickly, a great professor at Claremont College, Peter Drucker, said 2 and 2 make 5 in a corporation. I didn't understand because I don't do math too well. And what he said is there's synergy. This is the spark. This is the fifth element that's sitting around with all the rest of us, Ron, Cam. We're here talking about this, and honest to God, I'm getting hairs up in the back of my neck. The synergy of what we can do, and to pass along a deliverable that Dan envisioned for us, I think is, that's a bucket list for me. That's wow.
So let's end on that note. We're going to be publishing, Dan, on the Great Conversation site and also on the SIA site, how you can get in contact with this working group. But any ideas further on that, on what you would see as the next steps?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple things as far as the next steps. We've published on LinkedIn, we've published with SIA a link where you can go directly and reach Cameron and say, hey, raise your hand. I would like to be part of the group. The good thing is I was sending out notices and letters today to individuals that I would like to have on the group. Cam, I think you've already heard from a number of people that have raised their hand and said, we want to be part of the group. Just tell us what we need to do and how we can participate. So Cam, maybe if you can just reiterate the information and where they can go.
So you can email me directly. My email is cmiller@securityindustry.org, and I'll get back to you in any information that we have. Or you can check on the SIA on their LinkedIn page or our website, securityindustry.org, and everything is there. You'll find links to it. But getting in touch with me was quick.
Cam, I want a little more. I want a commercial. How many members are there in SIA today?
Over 1,000.
Thank you. So over 1,000 people, at a minimum, not counting the pass-alongs, saw that the organization has started a working group on audio. Probably the first time in the history of the organization. Sorry, intelligent communication as well. I apologize. So I'm fascinated to see how this rolls out, and if we can catch the spark in other people that we know, we work with, people that deploy this stuff today, people that want to. So I'm kind of hoping, Dan, that we have a little bit of a larger group, and look to you to how do we break it down into manageable bites, 7 subsections, So I'm a little stuck in the mechanics, but I'm very excited if the industry's excited. 1,000 members.
So, but you also bring up a good point. think about it, you have 1,000, but outside of SIA are a lot of people who go, well, why would I join SIA? I'm a business consultant, or I'm a technology company outside this security space. But quite frankly, what we're seeing with our tools and security today, it's starting to cross over into the business function as well. So this, I get hairs on the back of my neck too, Richard.
Yeah.
This is just a starting point, and this could actually be one of those lightning rods that create digital transformation in our world that we never, ever realized. This has been a great conversation with the Security Industry Association, the Audio and Intelligent Communications Work Group, and some great thought leaders in the security industry. Thank you, gentlemen.